Alright, so I'm going to be doing a video on this older video. It's not too old, but it's of November 15th of completely wacky judge makes Kyle Rittenhouse trial a farce. So, I don't particularly like David Pakman. I think he's a slimy figure. I'm going to poison the well super hard here. I think he argues and even kind of sounds like Nick Fuentes. Like, trying to undermine a trial and like do all that. He just got he's the Nick Fuentes of the left. He kind of reminds me of that. And also, like, I know he tried to pretend in the debate with Destiny that like this is all innocuous. Just I was saying the judge is wacky. That's innocuous. It's just my opinion, bro. It's not harmful. So I'll ask you this, and I don't expect you to have an answer. Why did I vote for Obama in 2012? Well, one of the reasons was I thought Mitt Romney was wacky. I thought he was wacky and kind of silly and goofy. Now when I look back on the whole airplane Windows thing, I was like, now I realize, like, hey, didn't his wife, wasn't she in an airplane that caught on fire or something? Like, obviously if you're worried sick, you're not going to be in the best of minds. I shouldn't have judged him like that. But at the time, I was like, wow, that's goofy and stupid. So yeah, this can change minds, and this can put people in a direction to think that our justice system is actually really bad, and like could get them to do violence because of that. So let's just start with the video.
All right. Earlier, we talked about...
Hold on. Let's volume that down a little bit. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Mute. Perfect. No, fine. Right here.
The defense attorney in the trial over the killing by police of Ahmaud Arbery. Now we are going to talk about the judge in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Now, I want to... listen, with this trial has become so toxic where if you have anything but a completely black and white view on... If you have a black and white view on the matter...
Sorry, bro, but that's politics, and you're not helping that.
Half of the audience flips out on you. If you have a gray area view of different aspects of the trial, then everybody ends up upset for the most part. I've already said, I believe that the entire Kyle Rittenhouse situation is a result of educational, parenting, and cultural failure in the United States.
But, okay. So Kyle Rittenhouse going to protect property and getting a gun, like he crossed state lines and then got a gun to protect property. That's a failing of our cultural and like education system? What? Is David here saying that we shouldn't be protecting property?
Of the most disgusting aspects of gun culture.
Okay, I hear this a lot from liberals and I don't understand it. What is a toxic or disgusting aspect of gun culture other than like, I have the right to own this and protect myself? I guess that's toxic to him? I don't get that. Unless he's saying like, open carry is toxic, in which case, like, pretty much every security guard or bouncer or whatever, anything that's open carrying to protect, like, something that's toxic, I don't know, it's stupid. Listen, just speak with your whole chest. Say you don't want people to be able to defend themselves, and just leave it at that.
Militia culture.
Okay, militia culture. What is harmful about militia culture? Okay? What is the number one purpose of a militia? It has been the number one purpose of a militia since the dawn of this country. It is to protect something. Militias, state militias would protect their states and protect the people when we didn't really have like a big strong government right when the country was beginning and we were forming. That was what its purpose was. And now we see militias like the Oath Keepers trying to keep things normal by having an open show force, open carry to, like, not get people riled up. Because if you're around someone with a gun, you don't want to start shit. Like, and then Kyle Rittenhouse was protecting property. What is wrong with that?
Vigilantism, etc. in the United States. And at the same time, I believe that the facts in the case support a self-defense acquittal at least on 2 of the 3.
Okay, this is why I think he's slimy. He's not really saying, like, I feel like if you believe that he was not guilty, you would say, like, I firmly believe that he is not guilty because he had the right to protect himself, defend his life in that instance. Not that, well, like, not guilty, acquittal makes sense, and blah, blah. It's like, with everything else that's going to be talked about in this video, it almost seems like he didn't want the acquittal, but knows how this is going to go down and wants to be on the right side of history.
The main counts in the case, given the narrow nature with which those statutes are written. I've already...
See, look at how the elongated way of him to say this. Not, I believe he's not guilty, he had the right to do it. Not, well, these statutes and the legal system of blah, 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 like, this is how you know someone's being slimy.
He said it. Okay, so please don't come back to me on that stuff. Now.
Don't at me at my stupid opinions, I don't know. What's the phrase? This is the, brevity is the mark of intelligence. Notice how he's like continuously going on to explain a very simple point. It's almost like he doesn't believe in it, but it's just keeping that to be on the right side of things.
I already went over last week when the judge, Bruce Schroeder, flipped out on the prosecutor, Binger, in the case.
Isn't it Dan Schroeder? I think it's Dan Schroeder.
Saying you were getting dangerously close to violating the Fifth Amendment when you started asking Kyle Rittenhouse during testimony about the timing of when he is first giving his full version of events. You're sort of going after his right to silence and implying guilt.
Yeah, Binger's a snake.
There. And the judge kind of flipped out on the prosecutor, and people have their view about that. Now,
flipped out is kind of like it's kind of a demeaning way to say that, like, he basically told off the prosecutor for doing what he was doing. You don't need to, like, overcharge it. He flipped out. He lost control. Like, oh, come on.
I've gotten a bunch of emails from people saying, David, the judge is fine. There's no issue with the judge at all. First and foremost, I would urge folks, if you've not been following the case over the killing of Ahmaud Arbery.
So, notice how he front loads this with, people have been saying that there's no issue with the judge, and now he's going to give you reasons why there's an issue with the judge. He clearly, like, thinks that.
Compare the role of the judge in the Rittenhouse case, the role of the judge in that other case. Judges, in a way, are like referees in sports. And if you follow sports...
I don't think this is necessarily good. I mean, you could argue whether that's a good comparison or analogy. Like, I don't think referee calls generally are that controversial compared to, like, what a judge might do. I mean, I'm sure, like, if you're playing team sports and you're going for one team, if they get called out, you're going to be, oh, BS, BS. I mean, the word based came from someone on the SP board, on sports board on 4chan, saying, thank you, based ref, when he meant biased ref. Like, people call that, and it's controversy all the time. I don't think it's a good example.
If you're talking about the referee, it's a problem, okay? If the story in a baseball game becomes the...
Well, the only reason you would talk about a referee is if one of the teams were doing something wrong.
Umpire...
Or maybe if they did something wrong. I don't know what the sport warnings are. Yellow card, green card, red card. Maybe they did a yellow card thing but got a red card and the ref overplayed on that or something. I don't fucking know. I don't do sports ball. But, like, there could be examples. But it's...
And their ball and strike calls.
Oops, didn't mean
it's
to...
probably because the umpire is at least theoretically doing something wrong because they're making them...
I don't think so. Like I said, it could just be that... It usually means one of the team is doing something wrong, and if the ref is part of it, it's like, oh, maybe he made a bad call on that wrong thing. I don't know. I don't do sports, but, like, trying to use a sports analogy when talking about a very serious trial, like...
themselves, their presence known. In a basketball game, if the biggest topic of discussion is the foul calls by referees, the referees they're doing too much.
First of all, let's go with it. Let's pause and unravel that assumption that the judge is the biggest part of the story. Absolutely not. There is no you could come away with that, the idea of thinking that the judge is the biggest part of the story. The biggest part was the prosecution in the court manipulating a video zooming in and that being a big thing. The judge had to make a call on that. That doesn't mean he's like the big part of it. He's the main focus. It's like the prosecution fucked up, and the judge had to make the call on that.
And they're playing too big a role. It's probably not good. And
so would you say the same about government? That in a society, the people should make a difference, not the government that's regulating those people? I don't think you'd make that concession.
In the Rittenhouse case, the judge has put himself front and center to even.
So I don't think that's true. I don't think he's like thrust himself into the limelight. I think he had to make calls because the prosecution were being slimy. I don't think he was putting himself front and center into the limelight. I don't think that's true. I don't think he's made himself like the focus of the trial. I think that's wrong.
Even give you an example. The judge is so wacky and cartoonish that people send me for my soundboard for when we broadcast the trial clips of the judge. First of all, there's the judge being obsessed.
Okay. I mean, to pretend like this isn't like, pretend like it's not insidious, like, oh, like, I'm just calling him wacky. You're doing that to try to undermine him, like to make him look bad. I mean, I've fallen for this shit, like I said, with Mitt Romney. Like, it's a really bad, like, propagandistic tactic. And I guess nobody really pays attention to it, but it really does have, it really can sway people into not, whether it's like, if it's election, like, vote for someone or not, consider someone as, like, a human. Like, it's really, or not consider someone seriously. Like, it's a very demeaning tactic.
With food, and so, for example.
By the way, how are the calzones? The food is here?
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Lunch is here. Pizza.
So how long was this trial? It was over 3 weeks, roughly, I think. I think it's just something like 14th hour deliberation or something. So, I mean, I don't know if this is supposed to be like dry humor or something. It sounds like you're just making fun of him for being fat. Like, yeah, he's probably a little bit overweight. Maybe he gets hungry more often than, I don't know. Who cares? How does that make him wacky or like make this whole thing a farce?
Pizza is here. But we have Subway tomorrow.
Okay. The judge at one point asking the jury not to go to the bathroom in the courtroom. Like literally, do not use the courtroom as your bathroom.
Whatever you do, make sure you go to the bathroom somewhere other than the courtroom.
I think that's just him being like, I think that's just dry humor. I think he's trying to be funny. I think it's just like boomer humor.
And then also the judge seemingly completely technologically inept. And
that's not true. I mean, if you hear him talk about the zoom and pinch and zoom stuff, he actually knows what he's talking about there. I think someone explained it to him, but still, like, even if someone explained it to him, that's still a pretty good understanding of, like, what's going on.
And the defense being able to use in their favor that the judge is completely inept, at one point referring to pixels as pickles.
Okay. I'm pretty sure the prosecution said that first, and then the judge said it. I'm almost positive. I would have to go find this, but, like, pretty sure the prosecution said it, and then the judge said it. But also, like, letting the defense take advantage of that, you have no proof of that. If anything, the prosecution really fucked up by pinching and zooming on a video in court. They should have done that. They should have had that go through the pre-trial. But they did that in court. That's what fucked them up and made the defense, you know, that's what the defense took advantage of that, not the judge saying, oh, let's bring in an expert witness. I mean,
Uncharged pickles?
Okay, so
uncharged pickles.
That's that. The judge...
Is that like a charged creeper? If an uncharged pickle gets hit by a lightning bolt, is it a charged pickle?
It also has a reputation for attorneys wanting to avoid him.
Yeah, of course, because he's really lenient towards the defense when it comes to their civil rights. Yeah, of course. Like, that's really dumb. Like, if I were a defense attorney for someone that I knew or had a good amount of evidence against me to show that my client was wrong, I wouldn't want Dan Schroeder, because supposedly he's really good on defense, but when it comes to sentencing, he's super harsh. That's what I've heard.
And in addition to that, the flipping out on the prosecutor, whether or not...
I feel like if I had ever gotten into a situation, I felt in my heart of hearts that I wasn't going to get a not guilty, or I knew I didn't do anything wrong, I would trust that I would want Dan Schroeder as a judge. He seems like a really good defense judge.
You believe the...
So one of our principles when it comes to like the courts and judging and all that, and liberals have just kind of thrown this away. They don't care about it anymore. They're not really liberal as they used to say. They're more fascist. But like, there's an old saying that it's better that 5 guilty men go than 1 innocent man be put in jail. So that's why the judge should be in favor of the defense at least a little bit.
Content of the flipping out was justified. Many legal analysts have said when the judge flips out on the attorneys for one side, that is known to influence jurors. And
so we can look at your comment section, David, and everyone is shitting on you for this. Dude, he literally excused the jury before yelling at the prosecutor. You can't just straight up lie like that. Be better. Binger's been absolutely deplorable, and this jury was out of the room when he got scolded. Are you not watching? Also, I've heard he was AFK during most of the trial. How would this flip up in the prosecution influence the jury if they weren't even in the room? He literally did not freak out in front of the jury. Are you paying attention at all? So many lies in one video. Gank, Sank would be proud. Flipping out, violating citizens' fundamental right to retain silence is worth flipping out over? Oh, it's worth flipping out over. Also, it's not flipping out. Issue of retraction with your comment about the jury seeing the judge yell at the prosecution. The jury was excused at the time. You are factually wrong. David, you do know the judge excused the jury before he flipped out. Now, the beautiful thing is that I bet if I were to go to, like, sort by latest and then go all the way down, I bet at the point where where Destiny had that, or uploaded that video, or had that stream where he talked about that, and it was like going through David Pakman's video and said, no, he actually let the jury out. Then the comments are going to change from, what the fuck, this judge is biased, to David Pakman, you're wrong, I guarantee you. It is a shame that it was Destiny that publicly called out David Pakman and debated him on this right-winger. I wish we could have pulled some people from the left over there, but Destiny got to us first.
Thus, when the jurors see the judge flipping out only on one side...
So wrong. Even your comments... Oh, it's a shame they hit the dislike function. Yeah, you can't even see it. You got ratioed, my dude.
You could make the case that that is influencing the jury. Now, you could say, well, maybe the judge should be flipping out on one side. Fine. You send the jury out in order to do it.
When you had this bit of misinformation that everyone in your comments is correcting you on, it undermines everything else you're saying.
And
so even if the judge was a wacky piece of shit that said pickles instead of pixels, or like was trying to thrust himself in the limelight, this wrong bit here undermines all of that, and that's what Destiny was trying to get to you.
So that's that. Now,
that conversation, by the way, is amazing. I would go through it, but like, it's not just the fact that he's a weaselly little pissant. It's not the weird like boomer ageism. It's what struck out to me was the defense of clickbait.
I'm picking titles that are not lies, but that will make people more interested to see what I'm saying.
I mean, you aren't lying or anything. You just aren't being the most honest, are you? You're like a slimy advertiser. You can't lie, but you can pull the truth as much as you can to make it seem a ton better.
Like, okay.
A couple other things that the judge has done that are sort of questionable. During cross-examination of a reporter from Real America's Voice, who is pro-Kyle Rittenhouse, posted pro-Kyle Rittenhouse things to social media, the prosecutor on cross-examination started getting into what exactly is Real America's Voice. And Real America's Voice is just a wacky right-wing channel. It's sort of like if Alex Jones InfoWars reporters are there.
Okay. What I'm going to do is go to Google, look this up, and I will do a comprehensive review of what they've gone over, and if you are wrong, I'm going to hold your feet to the fucking fire on this one, and you will never live it down. See you in a second. It was silly of me to say that I'm going to do a comprehensive review when I think I've seen enough. I think I've seen enough. It's not. I thought it was maybe going to be different, like a home page. You would see like, oh, this is what we're about. Instead, it just kind of thrusts you into the all it says is this, and like it needs more of a home page to. Wait, maybe does it say it up there? Oh, that's kind of good, but I wish I would have gotten something better. But like, I was thinking it'd be easier to do that. But I've watched one video, and I think I've seen enough. I watched a video on vaccines, and like how the Air Force was discharging people for not wanting to take the vaccine. And if there was going to be any conspiratorial coverage, it was going to be on the vaccines. Now, I don't know if they covered the 2020 election, if you would consider that conspiratorial. Don't know. But I think it's pretty safe to say, through not only watching a couple of the videos, but also looking on Twitter, that it is not Alex Jones level of conspiracy. Not even fucking close. Why would you think that? You clearly didn't do the research. All you did was, you didn't even look it up. Do you think all right-wing media coverage is just Alex Jones? Why would you think that? This is the problem with liberals on Twitch. They are propelled by their presuppositions and their bigotry, and they spew out right-phobic narratives without looking up or doing any of the research. They will take 16-second clips and demonize you for that being taken out of context. They will never give you a fair hearing, and this dumb fucking moron felt it was okay to say that without even looking at it. And then he did the, oh, it's wacky, trying to delegitimize a legitimate news source. Unfucking believable, dude. Unbelievable. This is what's causing, like, this is a big source of right phobia in this country. People like him that think right wing equals Alex Jones. Unfucking believable, dude. I cannot believe that you could be so fucking slimy. You could be so fucking slimy, not look it up, and feed that kind of shit to your fans. What does Alex Jones believe? Let's go. Well, one of the things I know he believes is that there's a conspiracy to turn the frogs gay. Here's some footage of that happening now. You see, Froggy was just going to play leapfrog with the other frogs. That's from Sonic Adventure 1, by the way. So yeah, Alex Jones believes crazy shit like that about turning the frogs gay. And I look at Real America's Voice, and it's not a single controversial thing being said in any of the videos I've seen. Like, you've got to be out of your fucking mind. This is what bigotry looks like. It's just not against a race or sexuality or whatever, so people don't pay attention to it. But thank God, with the fucking cracker discourse, I think some people are kind of saying that, like, hey, you can be racist to white people, and hopefully that spreads out to, like, hey, right phobia isn't okay. Just because, like, I hope that fucking spreads out. I hope. Yeah, this guy's a dumb fuck. Fuck him.
It would be very relevant for the jury to understand what is InfoWars, and when the
No, we've already gone through this. You're just wrong.
Prosecutor got to the question about what is the political leaning of Real America's Voice, the judge bails out the defense and says, you're not going to ask that.
YouTube channel?
Yes.
Do you have your own independent website that you operate?
I do have an independent website, yes.
What's that?
We're gonna fast forward through this because it's irrelevant. But Pakman even cuts off the judge.
What is the
It goes to the bias of the witness, Your Honor.
That sneaky little slimeball fucking laugh, that shit-eating grin. This guy knows he's selling you a bad narrative about how the judge is corrupt and he's helping the defense.
the bias in what respect?
When I realized, oh fuck, it's not even a fucking, like, conspiracy theorist site. It's not even, like, I'm like, okay, did he lie? Intentionally lie? Or did he just not know and was just too ignorant and fucking stupid to look it up? I honest to God don't know with some of these people. These are the type of people that, if things go wrong for the conservatives, would probably be throwing people like me into camps. I'm just gonna say it. With that level of presuppositions and bigotry, if it were aimed at a black person, like you would, oh, like, so there's this guy Fanatic, a thug YouTube channel, and then it's like the channel about like debating, and I think he does music as well. It's like, oh, you just assume that because he's black. No one would tolerate that. Fucking no one.
So anyway, to cut to the end, the judge doesn't allow that to be asked about. And again, it's like...
Yeah, of course, because it's not relevant.
Like if the witness were Alex Jones and
oh God, why would you say that? You're wrong.
You're not allowed to inquire about what InfoWars is. It's absolutely wild.
Even if... oh God. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave a little comment. Yeah, I just typed that out. I'll probably cut out me typing it, but like... So he's lied twice. Or was so, like, unbelievably misinformed that it's unacceptable either way.
And then lastly, a very strange comment, which some are saying is a political comment. One day they were having Asian food.
Oh no,
as
Asian food is political.
Judge says. And the judge made what some are calling a political comment by saying, hopefully the food's not stuck on one of those boats in Long Beach Harbor, alluding to this supply chain controversy. And of course, they're in Wisconsin, folks, so it's a completely unnecessary comment, but it's a...
Bro, do you not have any understanding of how food gets to places? Like, it obviously, you fucking moron, has to go through ports. Now, I'm not good at geography or like where shit's lined up on a map, but I imagine the closest port is probably Long Beach Harbor. They probably have to truck it over to Wisconsin, and that's how they get their food. Unbe-fucking-believable, dude. You know nothing.
It's a joke that goes, some argue, to political bias.
Let's hope for 1 o'clock. I don't know. Hope the Asian food isn't coming. Isn't on one of those boats in Long Beach Harbor.
Now, even if he doesn't mean thanks to Biden, it's on one of those boats.
You know what? This entire video has been an exercise in spite, and I'm just gonna jump on it. You motherfuckers blame Trump for the coronavirus, blame Trump for the riots, blame Trump for a bunch of shit that wasn't under his control. So I think we can blame Biden for it. I don't care if he's responsible. I'm just gonna do it to spite you and all the dumb fucking people that follow you. Who, thank God, I've realized just how fucking, like, dishonest you are.
It's off color and it's not appropriate, and the judge is very, very wacky. So I
think you're wacky. I think you should... I think you're on the wacky Tabacci.
Feeling is, while on the major charges, not guilty follows the facts, the entire...
See, he's not saying, oh, I believe Rittenhouse was right to do what he did. It's, well, on the charges, you know, the law will go this way, that he's not guilty. Not that I believe he is not guilty. I believe he's innocent. It's like, well, the law says this, and like, it's a very weaselly way to try to be on the right side of things without, like, I don't know, fuck him.
Thing seems like a foregone conclusion, and the judge seems to...
It's a foregone conclusion. Let's not mince words. You're saying that it's a guilty verdict because the judge is wacky and making the trial a farce.
Be very much so helping that along. So that's the judge.
Helping that along, helping the defense along with an acquittal. That's what you're saying.
Let's now go to the mom. The only subscription streaming service...
Okay, yeah. Oh, God. Let's not mince words. He is a stochastic terrorist. He has given you a narrative in which the judge is biased and wacky, and that the defense is going to give him an acquittal, even though that it's not deserved. His shit-eating grin shows it. He is responsible for what happened with that van. Supposedly it was inspired by the Rittenhouse thing. He is responsible for whatever riots and shit that happened after this point, because he has... This video has over 32,000 views. That is insane. And he has God knows how many subscribers who believe that because he might have mentioned it in, I don't know, other streams or whatnot. He is responsible for whatever outcomes happen from here on out. I just want to say that the judge is biased. Oh, we didn't even get into the whole phone thing where he was playing. I didn't even recognize it until people said it. I still don't hear it. Like, the proud to be an American thing, I don't hear it. But like people focused in on oh, that's Trump's theme song. Like, glad to see you hate America, lefties. Oh my god, this video is awful. This video is awful. It's clear to you he's trying to sell a narrative. And yeah, if there's any good that comes out of this, hopefully people leave this piece of shit and go somewhere else. Go further right to the based land of free market with just a pinch of regulation to make things above the board. We can, just because we have a free market doesn't mean our healthcare is good. We need to align healthcare with the free market. Price transparency. You need to know the price of shit before you actually have the procedure done. School choice follows the competition angle of the free market. All of that shit. These guys are like trying to sell you this like, oh, we'll have the government take care of it, but not too much to where we have to keep the market intact. But now we have to do this complicated juggle. Listen, if Common Core would fail because government agencies and nonprofits don't know how you teach your kids, why would any other economic policy work? These guys are trying to sell you a narrative that government policy is the way and governmental supremacism will be the way when, like, oh, it's social programs. I love social programs. Now, they won't tell you that that with a little bit of elbow grease and effort, those social programs could be done under private entities, private companies. I mean, we already have private companies owning drugs. Like, we have private drug companies. Why not private social program companies? That way you're not taxed for them. You know what I mean? Like, no liberal will ever admit that if we could do those same social programs and safety nets, but just under a capitalist private ownership system instead of a governmental one, nobody will ever admit that. That's why they're wrong. One of the reasons why they're wrong. The government is not a solution. The free market is a pretty damn good solution. Obviously, the government, we can't. No one man is an island. So saying all free market is dumb. Saying all government regulation is dumb. We need more free, like, I'd say 90% free market and 10% regulation, the base level to keep the market free. You get what I'm saying. This guy has repeatedly lied to you, sold you right-phobic narratives about people that he didn't bother to look up. He has lied so much that, in fact, his comments have been calling him out on it. And I don't think you should trust this guy or anyone he associates with, except for Destiny. Destiny's cool, but still, he pushes right-phobic narratives sometimes. I don't think, not meaningfully. This guy should have known better. I don't think Destiny means to, but whatever. That's it for this video. Yeah. And if you want a good summation of Dan Schroeder, listen to the man who had to sit in the same courtroom with him.
Did you like the judge?
Yeah, Judge Schrader is a nice guy, very old school, a very constitutional judge.
Yeah.
He was by the law, and he's not a judge you want to get sentenced by, what I hear from people, but he is a judge you want. If you want a fair trial, he's the judge you want.
Thanks for watching.